Update. I-27 female made a stupid joke to my husband, 30 male, and he stormed off. How do I fix this? Original post. Hey Reddit, I'm an Instagram snooper, so this is my first time here. I honestly never expected to post here because my husband, 30 male, and I-27 female have a great relationship. Of course, I can't say we haven't had our occasional bumps, but it's honestly a dream come true all the way through. Our wedding was April of 2021, and we both cried like babies that day. And since then, the sailing has been smoother than soap. This afternoon, me and him came home after a little lunch outing with our newly engaged friends Kai and Marie. It went great, but was like just another outing, nothing special. Though we got some bomb pasta back home, which I'm currently shoveling into my gob since it's too chilly for ice cream. We live in a super tiny apartment, and so he showered first while I got the leftovers into the fridge and stuff. I went in after him, finished my shower, and put some lotion on my palm. I accidentally squeezed too much and dabbed some of it away. After I rubbed it on my face, I still had some of the leftovers on my finger, and I did exactly what any perfectly sane person would do. On my thumb, I whipped up a little smiley face and some spiky hair to create lotion man. I came out of the bathroom giggling about it and said something along the lines of, "Hey, look, it's lotion man." He didn't really react. He just looked at my hand and blinked at me. I honestly was just goofing around and started making a silly voice and saying some random crap sprinkled with inside jokes. I was blabbing for about a minute before he just up and left. I was, of course, completely oblivious as he grabbed some of his crap, and I just was smiling and asking where he was going in kind of a playful way. He has a huge truck, and we just returned from a trip, so he has enough stuff to last him weeks, so it didn't really dawn on me that he was leaving until he drove away. I honestly feel like Boo-Boo the fool for making such a stupid joke and then letting him leave just like that. I texted him a few times, and he's just said that he's thinking about things and that he's at his brother Tyler's place. I've been texting him nonstop, but he hasn't been responding for even reading any of it. He also sleeps really early, so I doubt I can get in contact with him anytime soon. His brother isn't responsive either, so I'm just leaving my phone on the nightstand and holding my breath. I don't think it's really dawned on me yet. I stared blankly at the door for like 10 minutes before I got off my ass and actually tried contacting him. I've been with this man for years, and I've always been cracking cheesy jokes. I feel stupid and like crap for making lotion man and continuing after no response instead of just shutting up and accepting that I'm unfunny. At the same time, I'm just confused. He's never been at this point, even in our rougher patches. The worst we've done is just take breaks from sex or just talk to one another a little less. Wasn't planning on getting into my sex life, but honestly, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm all for giving him space, but I can't say I'm not hurt he's just leaving. And the process of divorce is just so, I don't even want to think about this anymore. Was making Lotion Man as big of a mistake as I think it was? Any advice on getting him back home? Thanks, Reddit. Also, any cute subreddit suggestions would be appreciated since it's my first time on Reddit and I want to distract myself. My opinion for OP. My feeling is there's got to be something else going on more than just stupid jokes. So I would just give him his space and then try to sit down and talk to him and find out what the real problem is, because it can't be just silly Lotion Man jokes. There's got to be something more to it than that. So best of luck to you, OP. Now for the advice before reading the update. Maybe the problem is that you refuse to see what the actual problem is. Stop saying Lotion Man. This clearly has nothing to do with effing lotion. I think you're in denial about how problematic your relationship really is. Clearly, it's not that great if he's packing up and leaving in the middle of what you're describing as a normal interaction. I think there must be something else going on. If a stupid joke is the last straw, he needs to grow the F up. Seriously. Even if it's a want joke, if his skin is that thin, he needs to deal with his issues. Lotion Man and I'm leaving just boggles my mind. She got out of the shower and made a joke. Yes, there's a time and a place for everything, but she had literally no reason to assume this wasn't the time for something like this. Your ex constantly making things sexual isn't a problem because it's childish. It is a problem because it made you uncomfortable and sounds like it was bordering sexual harassment. There's an update from OP. Maybe read it and wonder why you were so quick to jump down this woman's throat for putting some lotion into the shape of a smiley face on her hand. Geez, you are seriously jaded. Now for the updates. Update 1. I followed the advice I got and kept my distance. Y'all had me really pondering about how much my relationship was butterflies and kittens I thought it was. I still firmly believe that everything was absolutely perfect before it happened, but oh well, I have my opinions. So you guys were right about some things and wrong about others. For those of you saying that the lotion thing had nothing to do with it, you were kind of wrong. But for the people who said something happened during the lunch outing, you were right on the money. My husband came back the other day. He apologized and said he was ready to talk to me. I obliged. I tried my best not to be all over him, but quite frankly, I miss the man so damn much. He's my husband after all. He told me the following. I mentioned previously that we went out with our two newlywed friends, Kai, 30 male, and Marie, 29 female. We did have some quality time with all four of us, but often one or more people were missing from the table considering it was a fusion buffet and the food was amazing. Apparently at some point, my husband and Marie grabbed some food together, or maybe before we left, since I know I was talking to just Kai for a while before they appeared, and we got to the car. Whatever it was, they were alone together. Marie, the fiancée, told my husband that when Kai proposed, she realized she was in love with him, my husband, though she accepted Kai's proposal and tried to put her feelings to rest by organizing a lunch out. Though apparently she was charmed or some bullshit because she asked him to run away with her or something. I don't know, but she wanted him to leave me and be with her. Now Marie is honestly gorgeous, which I hate to say because I'm so pissed off with her. She's the typical blonde-haired, blue-eyed, skinny pageant girl who looks kind of like Emma Watson. I'm not. My husband gently turned her down and wished her all the best. But he says he had her on his mind for a while. We were all college friends, so we know one another very well, and when I showed him Lotion Man, it all essentially exploded inside him. I had a hair towel and some crappy old clothes on, and I was giggling over a stupid thing, and apparently my immaturity ticked him off over however the hell Marie was. He all of a sudden got cold feet about our relationship and left for his brother's place. He eventually came back and said he loved me all over again. I was frozen in shock and asked some questions before asking him to sleep on the couch at least for that night. He did, and it didn't really help me sleep. I can't believe it, honestly, that he was considering crapping away all of our relationship for a crush. The more I think about it, the less I can look him in the eye. We went to Thanksgiving lunch together with some of his family, plus close friends, and we spent last night together, so I think he thinks he's in the clear. I can't lie and say I'm not considering just forgiving and forgetting, though. He comes home from work about 6 hours from now, and I don't know what to do next. I am off today, I'm a teacher, and so I'm considering either A, contacting Kai and telling him about what his fiancée is up to. My husband begged me not to, as Marie was apparently making a spontaneous mistake. B, contacting Marie and chewing her out for trying to F up my relationship, or having a civil conversation, less tempting, but it's whatever. C, contacting Tyler, his brother, and asking if he left the house at some point. Tyler's house is very close to Marie's place, and I'm very worried about that, though I doubt I'll get anything out of him. Or D, all of the above. Any advice or well wishes, because I'm not in a great place right now, would be appreciated. If I do end up updating, it'll probably be on my profile, since I understand that this subreddit has a one update policy, plus I don't want to update without a definite outlook on the future. I think I've mentioned before that legal stuff scares the crap out of me, so divorce will be tough, but it seems likely. I wish I could just forget it all. Thanks, Reddit. Final update. Hey Reddit, first of all, I want to thank you so much for the overwhelming support and sweet messages. I honestly was not expecting this. A lot of you guys also took the time to message me, and I had a lot of great conversations with fellow Redditors. I'm honestly so flattered by how freaking sweet so many of you guys are. I wish I could have replied to every single one of your comments. I upvoted every one of them though. I think my post got deleted. Some of you asked for pictures of Lotion Man, yet I can't find the feature to upload photos on here, but I will as soon as I can. A lot of you had some really interesting theories, LOL, and surprisingly, most of them were somewhat right. Majority ruled that I should do all three, confront Kai, Marie, husband, and Tyler, not necessarily in that order. And so I had to get smart with it since a lot of you guys told me that any one of them could twist the story had they known there was an outside influence. Before I begin, yes, the full story is wacky and honestly doesn't make that much sense. I'm honestly just piecing it together via context clues, and I do have some questions left unanswered. Plus, nobody is relaying this story is in a good headspace, and to you, it might just seem like a ton of garbled nonsense. I'm just hoping it gets across since I know a lot of people wanted closure on this. When my husband came home, we had a conversation. He essentially said the same story, and he told me he was open to my marriage counseling suggestion. I gave him a big hug and did the laundry. Usually we split the laundry. Plus, I had been giving him a light cold shoulder, so I indirectly forgave him, in his eyes at least. We haven't really set boundaries with our phones, like we know each other's passwords and everything, but he would definitely get suspicious if I was just scrolling around on it. So instead, I agreed to meet up with Kai first. A lot of you guys were concerned that he would tell Marie and everything would implode. But Kai is a big gym nut, and I've been wanting to go recently, so I said it as casually as possible, using it as an excuse. He agreed. The next morning I met with Kai. I sat down with him and told him all I know. Yes, I cried like a baby. Originally, Kai was rigid and tried to kindly poke holes in what I was saying with a few gotcha questions before he too broke down. Marie didn't tell him a word. That was a big red flag on its own. I then went to Marie with Kai. A few Redditors told me to be as discreet as possible, and so, as a suggestion said, I just blurted to her that I knew everything. She played dumb at first and then eventually broke. You all were right. Marie just was trying to settle her crush was a stupid bullshit story. My husband was the one who approached her. She told me that he asked her if before she sealed it with Kai, if she wanted to have a night with him and another woman. Here's the kicker. Marie said yes. But wait, I hate to say it, but that's not all. Apparently Marie was cheating on Kai for a while with men and women. And my husband has also been cheating frequently. They covered for each other and occasionally met up. At the last moment, she declined because she wanted to be loyal to Kai now that they were engaged, as if she wasn't cheating for the majority of the relationship, and he and husband got all pissed off for a while before saying he's just locked in his apartment now. Cue me showing him Lotion Man. He snaps and gets out of there. Kai and Marie are both arguing in tears and red at the face. I told them sorry that I butted into their relationship and that I'll handle my husband myself. I found Tyler before the sun set. He told me yes, his brother stopped by, but only around 11 p.m. He left at around 8. So those 3 hours went F all. Tyler told me that he was angry and didn't tell him anything. I then tell him some context, just the Lotion Man, and he says that maybe he was driving around for a while. It doesn't sound like my husband to drive as relief, but I'm willing to look into it since the future was already looking pretty effing bleak. I went home, I Googled something on my husband's phone instead. I was just checking if any of them had contacted him. Nothing, thankfully. I would have gone into more depth, but that would have had to wait. Instead, I tried to keep him busy for the duration of the day. Remember how I said he sleeps really early? Well, that worked in my favor. Took his phone that night while he was snoring his ass off. Ran into a million dead ends. I knew I was missing something, but I just couldn't find it. Finally, I opened his hidden photos. Kaboom! His story explodes to pieces. What did I find? Nudes, nudes, and more nudes. Even more nudes. All of one girl, not me, shocker, but not Marie either. I don't recognize her. Let's call her Allison. Considering Allison was my second grade best friend, who was actually a snake, They're not the same person, just so I can call her something when I refer to her in the story because I don't actually know her name. She's absolutely gorgeous. Red hair, hourglass figure, you name it. I'm obviously broken. I traced her back to a contact. I feel sick. There it is, an affair. He's been contacting her since February, days before I surprised him with a Valentine's thing that I had been using up my paychecks for and thinking I was the luckiest woman alive. It effing sucks. I can't even read more, but I toughed through it. Then I hit it. November 3rd, 2 days after the last nude. She's pissed off. She found out he was married all along, and she was in love with him. I would feel bad for her, but she didn't even bother trying to contact me out of love. Ergo, hubby has a genius idea. He told Allison that he'll bring his wife over in a hotel to show that his wife doesn't care about the affair. Sound familiar? So I assume when Maria canceled, there was nothing he could do. He became whiny and begged her to come. He told Allison that there was an inconvenience and they'd meet up another day. Then the lotion man. He got pissed off at me and left. I don't know what he did after that, but whatever it was, he wasn't with either of them. Then he went to Tyler's place, slept it off, and came back afterwards. I'll spare you the details, but I couldn't even pretend to like him anymore after I found that out. I brought Kai and Marie over the next morning. He started effing blubbering and tried to deny it before eventually admitting he was into redheads. Marie is actually strawberry blonde, Allison is very ginger. And it was the one desire of his I couldn't fulfill. Even I could see past this bullshit saying that he loved only me and that being with Allison and Marie only made him love me more. I just said F it and packed my stuff. He got more desperate, but even I, the girl who was honestly infatuated with him, knew it was over. He technically owns the apartment, so I had to leave. Now I'm staying with Kai. He's as hurt as I am. I feel for him too. His wife was his world. We were hugging and crying for a while and ranting about God knows what, just trying to get ourselves together, to be honest. He tried to lighten the mood by making lunch, and it was really nice. He was a wonderful cook. I showed him the other 2 posts. He got a kick out of some of your comments, haha. As far as I know, my soon-to-be ex-husband is with Marie for now. I don't care about either of them, and honestly, it's kind of therapeutic just having some kind of closure and not walking on eggshells like I have been for the past few days. Kai and I are going to the gym tomorrow to do some relaxing yoga and hopefully figure out what to do next. We've both taken time from work. I'm sorting out my finances and hopefully I should get the ball rolling to finally legally split from my husband and be able to call him my ex. I'm still so frazzled. I have spent at least a half a dozen pictures of him and me on my desk, and our wedding pictures is my lock screen on pretty much all of my devices. I know my students will notice his sudden disappearance from my life, and I'll have to tell them that the guy that I've been raving about for the past forever is divorcing me. I'll have to tell all my family and friends Kai is my rock in this whole thing, and we'll eventually have to part ways, which hurts me because he's honestly my #1 support system in all of this. Living arrangements, actual divorce costs, law stuff, yuck. Therapy, sigh. I still have to go through it all. I can't believe I thought the relationship was perfect. It's really therapeutic just to write this all down. But Reddit, thank you so much. I've already talked about how much support I've received, but honestly, some of your guys' honesty and compliments have, for a lack of better emphasis, honestly saved my life. I would have been with a cheating scum and Kai would have been too. This place is so awesome and there's so much to be seen here. So many nice people checking in on me and wanting to keep up with my story. I'll be back for some advice someday, though just know I've seen all of your sweet words and I'll continue lurking around for a long time. But this should be my final update for now. Thank you, Reddit, from me and Kai. Story 2. I-39 female heard something my husband 45 male said on a phone call and it shook me. How do I talk to him about it? I-39 female had been married to my husband 45 male for 8 years. He has a friend, Brian 40 male, who worked with my husband at his old job. Brian has a wife, Helen 39 female, and young daughter 4 female. Brian and my husband used to be close friends and drinking buddies, but they haven't hung out in person for several years. My husband has told me in the past that he no longer wants to talk to Brian because he's a very negative person, but they still text and call each other sometimes. Last week, I heard my husband on the front porch talking on the phone. I thought he sounded different, so I put my ear against the front door to listen. I know. Basically, I pieced together that Brian cheats or tries to cheat on his wife when he goes out drinking, and my husband encourages it. They were joking about Brian's friends switching partners and having a threesome, which I thought was weird and out of character. Then I heard my husband say, "So you went to the bar, did you get any action?" Like it was a normal question he asks all the time. They also mocked Helen for calling Brian 50 times to check up on him while he was out and joked about her installing a GPS tracker on Brian's phone. My husband said that Brian used to be careful with his phone because he didn't want Helen to see the text between Brian and my husband. Guys, my husband sounded like he's a totally different person. My stomach dropped as I heard everything. I'm still in shock. I never thought my husband would condone cheating, but to be calm and almost gleeful about it. I'm feeling hugely disillusioned, and I'm thinking about all the times that Brian and my husband used to go out to the bars years ago. And was this or something worse happening then? My thoughts have been spiraling, and I'm walking around in a daze. My husband doesn't know what I heard, but I feel like everything has changed. I know I need to talk to him, but I don't know how. I've never been good with confrontation or speaking when I'm emotional. How do I handle this conversation? Now for the advice. So I overheard you talking to Brian the other day. I must admit the conversation was very disturbing. Are you encouraging him to lie to his wife and cheat on her? Then talk it through. The fact that she's going to have to live with, regardless of how that conversation goes, is what she overheard as a part of her husband's personality. He knows it is a gross part too, so he has kept it hidden from her, but it is absolutely an aspect of who he is morally. I hate to say it, but you need to be acting under the impression that your husband was just as much out on the prowl as his buddy was. There's a decent chance that hearing about his buddy's exploits is him just living a fantasy vicariously through his buddy. But there's also a chance that the reason he doesn't hang out with him much anymore is because one of them wanted to stop and the other kept going. Either way, I think you should be doing some snooping before you address what you overheard, because I can guarantee that if there's proof he's been cheating on you, it will disappear within 24 hours of you starting this conversation. The stats put infidelity by men at 20%. If I heard this kind of talk from my partner, actively encouraging a married father to cheat and then freaking laughing and making fun of the wife, well, I would have a pretty hard time believing he wasn't in that 20% category. And yeah, snooping sucks, but I think in this case it's warranted. She won't get a straight answer out of him if he did cheat, so she may as well take it upon herself to do some research before bringing it up. Personally, I think that behavior is disgusting. Even if her husband doesn't cheat, it speaks to low moral character. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.